Many of you might have heard that I make latkes in our house. Why do I make latkes? Why do I make the latkes? That is, if they taste good, I make them. If not, I will say someone else did it. The reason why is because, as it says, that we know that on Hanukkah you are allowed to work. However, women have a custom not to do malacha. That's not really work, but the definition of malacha, forbidden acts, as long as the candles are lit in the house. And the reason why women in particular have this custom is because the decrees were greater and harsher on the women than anyone else, because what had happened was that any woman who was to be married was required to live with the hegemon, the Greek officer, first. And number two, because a good part of the miracle happened through a woman, the daughter of Yochanan the high priest, was very, very beautiful, and the king wanted to lie with her, and she said to him she would do so. This is from the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. She gave him cheesy foods to eat in order that he would be thirsty. She then gave him wine. He became drunk, fell asleep, and then she took care of him. And after that, the enemy fled, seeing that they were headless. They had no leader at that time. So therefore, the women in particular have a custom not to work at the time of the candles being lit. Now, I'm not saying that cooking is work. It's just that we started to do that. Likewise, there is a custom certain women have, really an old-time custom, that on Rosh Chodesh, women do not work. Why? Because Rosh Chodesh was a holiday given specifically to the women. It's a monthly holiday. A longer explanation will come at another time. But women every month have this holiday of Rosh Chodesh given particularly to them. And I knew an old woman who told me that she doesn't knit on Rosh Chodesh. There are many other things that she did do. Rosh Chodesh, Shabbos, Yom Kippur, other times too. But knitting on Rosh Chodesh, getting out of work, no, my custom is not to do that. What we see is that a person, that we are able to make things holy. That is, a particular time, we turn into a holy time not to do certain things. Very interestingly, the sacrifices that we read about today that were offered by all of the Nesiim, by all of the princes, did it take place on Shabbos or not? That is, did they bring the offering of the prince on Shabbos or not? What's the reason for my question? We know that a private sacrifice is never brought on Shabbos. Only a korban tzibur, a communal sacrifice, is brought on Shabbos. The daily sacrifice and a Rosh Chodesh sacrifice, a Shabbos sacrifice, but other than that, no private sacrifice can be offered. What about the korbanos of whichever prince, whichever one came out on Shabbos? Was it brought on Shabbos or not? They're 12 days. Was Shabbos a work day or not? The answer is yes. How did it come about? Because this individual made his thing and it became a korban tzibur, the sacrifice of the entire Jewish community. That is, we have the ability to make things into a holy thing. And therefore, just a reminder, when we are in shul, whether it be the big shul, whether it be the little shul, this is a holy place. We have turned it in, we have imbued it with sanctity. During this past summer, we visited the Reagan White House in California. And one of the things that we heard is that President Reagan never went into the White House, to the Oval Office in Washington, without his jacket. Because why? It was Yiras Haromimus. He came into a place that was an important place. He felt he